Yo, yo, yo. I don't know why I said yo, 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 but we're rolling with it. It's your girls. It's the 49K pod. I am Angelina Martin. As always, I'm with Steph Sanchez, and we are on episode 24. We're coming off a victory. We are now officially on a winning streak. The 49ers defeated the Minnesota Vikings 34-26. Jimmy Garoppolo showed Kirk Cousins who Kyle Shanahan's true favorite quarterback is, and they improved to 6-5. It's a happy episode. How you doing, Steph?
I'm doing great. My heart rate and my blood pressure has finally started to stabilize, so I'm feeling better now after that
Yeah.
game.
I feel like everyone was kind of in the same boat. I mean, I even tweeted about like this team, keeps me on my toes. I never really know what to think. I never really know what to expect. And a lot of people had the same sentiment. The word roller coaster was thrown around. People were mentioning blood pressure. So they had that in common with you. But lots to talk about from the game, of course. But you know how we do. We got to first go into this week in 49ers history. Steph, take it away.
Yes, on November 26, 2017, Jimmy Garoppolo made his 49ers debut, and it was a super exciting time for the team. I mean, obviously they were doing very bad, so any spark at that time was welcome, and Jimmy definitely provided it that year. I mean, man, what else can you say? What do you
Yeah.
remember about that
Oh my
time?
gosh, so much. I feel like this era of 49er fans knows, well, I mean all 49ers fans kind of probably remember where they were when that happened. It was, there was a lot of hype. They had just traded for him. He hadn't played yet. He came into a game where CJ Beathard got hurt, which is kind of ironic because I saw that this was our history tidbit this week, and so I obviously went back and was reliving this moment. And Jimmy came in and he scored the first touchdown against the Seahawks that they had scored against Seattle that year in their second meeting. So that was cool. And then I thought it was funny that after the game, Kyle Shanahan was non-committal on a starter. He didn't
He
know.
hasn't changed
Oops,
much,
sorry.
that guy.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was funny after the game. He was like, we'll play it by ear, and hilarious because Jimmy Garoppolo just came in and, like you said, invigorated the team that really needed some invigoration. So I just thought that was funny and kind of, just Kyle being Kyle.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, really quickly, just for those of you who are commenting, thank you so much. Also, don't forget to subscribe and please like it because every time you guys like this video, it moves it up in the algorithm. And yes, we would definitely appreciate that. But uh,
We love
we
the
also
algorithm.
we love it. We love it. We also have some news that happened before the game. Should I just take that one away too?
Yeah, rattle them off.
Let's
Lots of
go.
news, and I know you're going to get into the news that just came out this afternoon. So
Yeah, I will. So, I mean, going into the game, it was all pretty good news. I mean, we had Drake Greenlaw coming back from IR. D Ford, however, did remain on. Kyle Shanahan actually just gave an update on D Ford that he is hopeful that he'll be ready this week, but they said that last week as well. So you can never be too sure. We will obviously keep an eye on that throughout the week. Also, Elijah Mitchell back from his finger injury. Exciting stuff. And just going into this game, like it felt like a really important game already. But after the Panthers, Cowboys, Saints, and Eagles all lost, it definitely heightened the importance of this game. And also, another thing that came out just before the game, Ian Rappaport reported Sunday morning that bearing a Super Bowl run, the 49ers' plans at quarterback in 2022 are to start Trey Lance and trade Garoppolo. And a lot of people were saying, like, why is that even news? But I mean, me and you, Angie, were talking about this last week. We were like, is it possible? Like, I mean, come on. People were discussing it. So it is somewhat news. And also Kyle Shanahan was even like non-committal on that too, like when he was asked about it. So I think that definitely at least clears that up a bit. And
yeah. I believe John Lynch said something along those lines back in May. So, this is kind of something that we all already knew, but like you said, there was the rumor mill of, oh my God, maybe Jimmy Garoppolo will still be in San Francisco next season. So I thought, it was like you said, it was a timely report. I just find it funny that like every time we talk about something on the pod, I feel like in a week or two, it really starts to gain traction. So we control the narrative stuff. I just wanted you to know that.
Yeah. And we we will also be talking about, something that happened after the game regarding that report a little bit later in our Twitter tizzy. We're very excited for that one. But yeah, we could get into the game review. Take it away, Ange.
Yeah, so like I said, and as you all know, because I'm sure you guys are all good fans and watched the game, the Niners won 34-26. Got a little dicey there at the end, I will admit. It reminded me of those first two wins from the beginning of the season where, you know, things went well, things went bad, and they just pulled out the victory. But the Vikings are a very good team this season, and Kirk Cousins can be good. So there was definitely a threat there. And like you said, this was the most important game of the season. I was hoping they were going to come out to a hot start, given that fact that this was basically like kind of a playoff game and they're controlling their own destiny here. And it looked good. They converted the first down on the first few seconds, whatever, however long it was on that first drive. They converted on third down, and then Jimmy Garoppolo throws a pick. Which we know this team's track record of winning games when Jimmy Garoppolo throws an interception isn't very high. Luckily, they won the turnover battle yesterday, and we can get into that. But what did you think after that initial possession, given the last 2 weeks, and how well their first possession went, going from that to what we saw yesterday?
Well, it doesn't. I hate to say that it doesn't surprise us too much. Like, yes, Garoppolo had been playing well, but like as we've mentioned many times with Garoppolo, like Bad Jimmy is bound to make an appearance sooner or later, and it happened to be in this game in that first half. And I think he settled down a little after that. One thing that Karthik here said was, yeah, Shanahan was cursing him out on the sideline. I did definitely see Shanahan yelling at him, and
I think everyone did.
like Jimmy was just like, yeah, like I know. So I mean, I think it helps, and it helps to add that fire to him. So he was able to settle down a little after that. So
Yeah. Shanahan said after the game that he was basically, I mean, I know people were going wild on Twitter, myself included, making jokes about what Kyle Shanahan was saying to Jimmy Garoppolo in that moment. But Kyle was just basically telling him what he missed, what he didn't see, what he needs to do better next time. And, Joe Staley said yesterday that it showed growth from Jimmy Garoppolo, that he was able to take that criticism, go back onto the field, get the job done, didn't throw any more picks. We saw Lamar Jackson last night throw 3 picks in 1 quarter, so it could be worse. But I thought I agree with Joe Staley. Like, a lot of people could have folded in that situation. And I even saw after the pick, Jimmy Garoppolo was going back out there and he was still not very accurate for a minute. And you could see the frustration on his face. And I was thinking, oh, here we go. Oh no, and it didn't turn out that way. He pulled it together. He made some really nice throws to get them the win. And of course, they utilized that running game as they have on this win game streak. And it all went well. Other than that interception, they have any other turnovers?
no, I don't think so.
Yeah, and then they had 2 turnovers of their own, right? The fumble recovery and then the interception by Al-Shair. So it just goes to show, even when you make mistakes, if the defense can pick you up, and you can win the turnover battle, or if you can get enough points on the board, over 30, you have a really good chance at winning, even if you make those mistakes. So I feel like this is not the same team at all that we saw at the beginning of the season. What are your thoughts?
No, it definitely is not. And one thing that Dawson asked here is Garoppolo's streak 2 games without picks still, right? And it is. Garoppolo has never gone 3 games without an interception in his career. And Javi tweeted that today, so shout out to him for tweeting that out. And Yeah, they have, as a team, 3 turnovers in the opening drives, which is most in the NFL. So definitely something they should clean up. But all in all, I mean, yeah, I think this definitely looks like a different team. To me, this game was a huge test for them. These last 2 games where we saw them win against the Jags and oh my god, my memory's like who they win before that, who they beat.
The Bears.
The bit Was it the
No,
Bears?
that's not the
Oh my
streak because
gosh,
they lost to the Cardinals
our
after that.
our memory is so bad. I'm concerned for us sometimes.
Wait, I
Um,
literally can't. I can't think. So
no, it's okay. I know I
the
have it in our
Jags,
notes
the
somewhere. Don't worry.
Rams. Oh my
The
god.
Rams.
Oh my
Jesus
god. We're
Christ.
so dumb, dude. It's fine.
We're not
It's
dumb. I
fine.
just have
No,
like a horrible memory.
we're not dumb.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys. So anyway, in those last few games, like, okay, the Rams was a tough game, but it went back to, like, Kyle Shanahan has always beaten the Rams, so it didn't really count. Not that it didn't count, but like, I don't know, that I feel like this game had a lot of playoff implications for them, and they're rolling. I needed to see them win this to know that they can keep it up and that they are a playoff team. And I think my concerns have been answered, and they look like a playoff team. So
Yeah, they definitely look like a playoff team. If you would have told me like 4 or 5 weeks ago that they'd be over 500 right now, it wouldn't necessarily like blow me away, but I would be a little surprised just given just the chaos. It seemed like chaos. Like literally just 3 weeks ago, John Lynch was doing damage control interviews with Matt Maiocco. Like, and
we
look
we
how
we had
it's
given
turned
up on
around.
them. Like, we were over them. We were
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say we were done, but we were like fed up.
Yes.
We were a little fed up. One thing I wanted to point out that PFF Jeff on Twitter posted Jimmy Garoppolo has been outstanding during or outstanding might be a stretch, but he's been so much better on third down conversions during this win streak. Weeks 1 through 7, his passing grade was 31.4 on third down. That was last. Weeks 8 through 12, that passing grade is 77, which is 6th. So that's something that sometimes it's hard to notice those little things during the game, but you get on Twitter after the game and you look and you're just like, oh my God, like, wow. Do you think that it has anything to do with the offensive line? I know they were not at their best yesterday, but why do you think that we've seen such an improvement in Jimmy Garoppolo? Is because they're finally opening up the field since they're utilizing the run game? Like, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. I think it's a number of different things, and I think some of it had to do with Kyle Shanahan. I mean, we saw in the beginning of the year the entire team just looked out of sync, and one thing Kyle actually said just before we went live in the latest presser was that he stopped featuring Lance as much because it kind of got him out of a play calling groove. And that's
Yeah.
something we discussed even, right? So it's one thing for him to notice it and, stop that. And it's another to actually admit to that. So I'm actually, it was nice to hear him like admit to that. But anyway, I do think that's part of the reason, just the fact that if Kyle Shanahan is in his bag and he's, play calling well, then that's going to trickle down to Jimmy Garoppolo. And I mean, we always talk about Kyle Shanahan has to hold his hand a bit in terms of the play calling. And, but I mean, that's probably true for a lot of quarterbacks and, but maybe Garoppolo especially. But I think he's definitely benefited from Kyle Shanahan play calling better these last few weeks.
Yeah, and something else to note that after this win is that he continued to get the ball out quickly. I know that was something you threw in our notes, 2.66 second average, which was needed because they gave up a lot of pressures yesterday.
Yes, they did. 14 total. And just to put that into perspective, combined in the last 2 games prior to that, they had given up 11. So not good to give up 14, but like you mentioned, Jimmy Garoppolo getting the ball out quickly, definitely going to neutralize that. And so it's good that he's been able to do that these last few weeks, even when the pass protection isn't at its best. Luckily, the run protection and the run blocking is very good lately.
Yeah. Yeah, and luckily, the 49ers receivers are stepping up, making some great plays. Jimmy Garoppolo is making great throws despite the, deficiency in pass protection that we saw yesterday. Debo Samuel, I mean, we're going to sing his praises every week, right? Did we go over the news? We didn't talk about the news.
I guess I did.
Yeah, we
So
forgot.
I was on news duty and I skipped over that news.
Do we want to say it now?
Yeah, we can say it now
Okay.
because it is definitely relevant. I mean, right before we went live, Kyle Shanahan did give some updates. Debo Samuel, as you guys remember, he went out of the game with a groin injury. It seemed very scary at first. He looked very emotional on the sideline, and
Yeah,
you
he
think,
was like
"Oh
looking
God,
around.
like here we go, like he's done." But the silver lining, I guess, is that he only be out 1 to 2 weeks, which it's Debo. It's going to hurt to not have him out there. He's our best player on the team right now, besides maybe like Trent Williams, maybe. But yeah, I mean, it's a good thing that it's just 1 to 2 weeks. So we'll take that.
Yeah, and it was good that he, felt it right away on that play, which that play looked a lot scarier when they played it, not when they played it back, but when it happened in real time, because he had gone down and then they still hit him when he was, down on the ground. So it looked super scary. Playing it back, you could tell that he, definitely just kind of pulled something down there. He felt it pull. So props to him for recognizing it and, being willing to come out of the game early rather than make it worse. There's some guys that would want to keep playing. So Debo showing his smarts there. He had 6 rush attempts for 66 yards with 2 rushing touchdowns. I think we can all agree that he's gunning for RB1 on the team. It's pretty wild to see him back there in the backfield, because he looks the part, right? Even though he doesn't like physically maybe look like your average running back, as soon as he gets the ball, I mean, it's kind of like a no-brainer, right? Not only that, he had 4 targets, 1 reception for 12 receiving yards, so he can still catch guys. Don't worry. He's just a little more successful running the ball right now in this scheme. And he also reached 1,000 yards, which is insane because it hasn't happened for a while, right, Steph?
Ooh, it has not happened since 2014 when Anquan Bolden had 1,000 yards in a season. Crazy to think.
It's crazy that, I mean, obviously we know that Anquan Bolden was a great receiver for us, but like, I don't think we appreciated him while we had him. Do you know what I mean? Like to look back.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And I think it's because just like the team as a whole wasn't that good at that time. I mean, he did play with Kaepernick a little bit, but I mean, still, he's definitely underappreciated. And it's funny because Debo draws comparisons to Bolden quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, they do remind me of each other. So, and they both get 1,000 yards in a season. It's pretty cool also that it only took Debo, till his 3rd season in the NFL to achieve that. So just, great things to come from him. Hope he recovers from the groin injury quickly because, like, talk about a difference maker. I think every NFL fan wishes they had Debo Samuel on their team at the moment. He's the first wide receiver in the Super Bowl era to score a rushing touchdown in 3 straight games. What?
It's just insane what he's been accomplishing right now. I don't know if you saw the graphic of it was so players in a single season with 1,000 receiving yards, 5 receiving touchdowns, and 5 rushing touchdowns. Debo, Marshall Falk in 1999 and Roger Craig in 1985.
Damn.
Only 3 players to
have done that. Should I say damn? damn. Did I tell you that they say that at Levi's now? I'm obsessed with
No,
it.
do they? I love
Yeah.
that though.
So anytime Debo does something, they show the clip from Friday on the big screen and the whole stadium goes, damn. And I was just like, oh my God, like, why didn't we think of this sooner? You know?
Oh, you know what? They might have done it last year, but
Did they? Okay.
yeah,
Well,
they might have.
weren't there no fans last year?
Okay, not last year. Okay,
The year
time is a
before.
construct. Yes, the year before.
See, and I think I went to 2 games in 2019. I never noticed it, but maybe they just didn't do it that game or something. But yeah, I loved that. But we can't forget about Brandon Ayuk. Man, has he just come alive since this team has got rolling? I mean, do you want to talk a little bit about what he did on Sunday and why you think this sudden resurgence has occurred?
Yeah, I mean, I think we know why the resurgence has occurred. I mean, I think he just needed to practice harder, and he's doing that and is translating the games. He had 6 targets, 3 receptions for 91 yards, and 1 rush for 4 yards. And as Jordan tweeted earlier, splash_cousin, great follow. If you guys don't
Shout
follow
out.
him, please follow him. All 3 of Brandon Ayuk's catches went for 20 or more yards. So he's becoming that big play weapon that they need. And they're going to need him when Debo Samuel is out these 1 or 2 games. One thing that I dug up, let me find my tweet, because a lot of the time last year, Debo Samuel was out with injury, and it was the Brandon Ayuk show, right?
Yeah.
And that was with Nick Mullins at quarterback most of the time. So Brandon Ayuk played 6 games without Debo Samuel in 2020. In those games, he had 50 targets, 32 receptions, 345 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So to me, his emergence is happening at a perfect time. That coincides with Samuel now being out 1 to 2 games, and I think he'll be able to step up and be able to continue making big plays for this team. And it more importantly, it looks like Garoppolo feels comfortable throwing to him, which is I
Yeah.
think really important. And he's going to need to be comfortable throwing to him in these next 2 weeks without Samuel, because Samuel's kind of like that security blanket, and you know he's going to make a big play for you, and it kind of seems like Ayuk is getting to that point as well with Garoppolo.
Yeah, and all the better that Ayuk is going to be able to just slip back into that wide receiver 1 spot with Debo out, as that Jawan Jennings is definitely starting to make some noise, make an impact where you're noticing him during games and in a really good way. He had 3 targets on Sunday, 2 receptions for 24 yards, and that touchdown, he nearly had a second one as well. But I thought the touchdown, even though it wasn't anything, I thought it was impressive, the footwork he did to get into the end zone. I mean,
Yes.
to have where that just showed, his situational awareness. And that's something that you love to see in a receiver, where they're not just like catching the ball and wherever they end up, So he looks like a pro out there. I'm excited for that because he's going to get even more chances now with Debo down for a couple weeks.
Exactly. And I'm excited to see that, actually. Yeah, he just kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, to me, he's kind of having the type of impact that we thought maybe Jalen Hurd would have had this year. But lo and behold, it's Jennings, and coming from his injury last year, I mean, it's great to see him, growing every week.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see with Debo out how that affects the run game because, you know, as shocking, or it's been shocking to everyone that he's been such a big part of the running game, because I think we're used to seeing Debo Samuel used that way. It's been a topic of conversation since he's been on the team, really. And that's, I'm sure, one of the reasons that they drafted him. But he's really been involved in a way where, we're making RB1 jokes, WRB are what combine
Yeah.
them all into one position. But it'll be interesting to see if they can keep up this rushing attack with Elijah Mitchell, Jeff Wilson Jr. I know they've handed the ball off to Ayuk a few times this season, so if they'll try and throw him into that role again. But they've been killing it in the rushing game over the past 3 games, and we know that's the main reason why they're on this win streak. It's the vintage 2019 Niners that everyone knows and loves. They had 126 rushing yards versus the Rams, 174 versus Jacksonville, and 208, the most versus the Vikings. And that's courtesy of Splash Cousin. He tweeted those out. So, I mean, just what a treat to see them get back to their bread and butter, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and to put that into perspective, in the first 9 games, we were barely seeing them run the ball, and it was a little frustrating. They ran the ball 44% of the time versus 56% passing, and in their last 3, we are now seeing them run the ball 64% of the time and 36% passing. You can say some of that is due to the fact that they've been up in games, and obviously that is like a contributing factor to that. But also, I just feel like they're getting back to their identity, and that is running the ball first to set up the pass. And it's been great to see, and I hope and I think they will continue on with it.
Yeah, and a big part of that, of course, is Elijah Mitchell. There were, of course, so many conversations after the draft about, the picks they took, the potential with all of them. And I think, on the main stage and what everyone was talking about, I think Elijah Mitchell kind of went overlooked because, of course, he was drafted after Trey Sturman. But I mean, wow, what a rookie season he's having. We got to talk about it. Is he in the running for offensive rookie of the year?
Well, first, I want to say that it's been really special to see so many of our players in consideration for like different awards. Like a few weeks ago, we were talking about Samuel. Last week, we talked about Nick Bosa. And today, we're talking about Elijah Mitchell, and it's definitely deserving. And I think he is a legit candidate for Offensive Rookie of the Year. I will, also say that I think generally the awards are kind of biased to quarterbacks, and Mac Jones has been playing well also. And I think that, that may mean the award ultimately goes to Mac Jones, but there's still time in the season and anything can happen. Another player that is probably on the radar, Jamar Chase and Najee Harris. But yesterday, Mitchell had 133 yards on 27 carries, 82 yards after contact. That's crazy. 3 missed tackles forced and 4 carries of 10 plus yards. And that was just yesterday. He had a great day. That was his 4th 100 plus rushing game of the season. And the last season, the 49ers only had 2 such games with a 100 plus yard rusher.
That's crazy. Thank you. Sorry, I had to sneeze. They only had 2 games with 100 plus rushing yards last year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That tells you exactly how the 2020, that's all you need to know about the 2020 season for the 49ers in this offense, right? I mean, just from that, you can tell it was a shitty season.
Well, not just that. I feel like also they used a lot of different running backs.
That's true.
That's always kind of been like Kyle Shanahan's thing. But ever since Mitchell has gotten going, it has been the Elijah Mitchell show. We have not seen Trey Sturman, and who knows for what reason. And he did have that one snap that unfortunately he did get hurt on. But even Jeff Wilson Jr., which I was not expecting this, has taken a back seat to Elijah Mitchell since coming back from his injury. So, I mean, it's been a big and nice surprise. And I hope he continues on with it. On the season, Mitchell ranks 10th in league rushing yards.
That'd be cool if it was passing.
Yeah, I was like, wow. His 86.6 rushing yards per game currently ranks him third, and he's only behind Jonathan Taylor and Nick Chubb
Oh
for
my
rushing
God.
yards per game. I know, it's
Good
like these
company.
big names, and he's up there with them.
Yeah.
4.85 yards per carry, so that ranks him ninth, and 3.84 yards after contact, which ranks him second, only behind Nick Chubb.
Yeah, and people want to talk about the draft picks that miss. And I get
Mhm.
it. It's fair, especially when you're trading up for players and everything. But let's talk about this hit. Just I'm excited for the future, for the 49ers to potentially have a consistent number one running back on the team that, could potentially be here a while. I think it's exciting. Just good things to come from Elijah Mitchell. And even like you said, even though of course Mac Jones is probably the favorite right now, just to be mentioned,
Exactly.
as a running back, as someone that was drafted so late as he was, it's not like he is a first round pick like Najee Harris or anything like that, so it's a great honor to even be in the conversation, and it's well deserved because he is killing it this season. And I know we want to talk about Nick Bosa a little, who also he could be in consideration for a couple of awards here, right? I mean, he's coming off
Absolutely.
the ACL tear. He could be a CPOY candidate. Is that right? Yeah, comeback
Sepoy.
player of the year. CPOY. He could be depoy, but let me tell you, he ain't a decoy. He's the real deal.
I hate you.
He had another sack yesterday, and another tackle for loss, and he now has 11 sacks on the season. That's good enough for fourth, and he's ranked first in tackles for loss with 16. What are your thoughts on Bosa? I mean, it's such a beautiful thing to hear Levi Stadium chanting Nick Bosa. Although I will say, yesterday they were chanting Bosa while Greenlaw was down on the field. Don't do that again. That was super weird. But maybe everyone was drunk and just didn't realize. But I was at home like, yo, Dre's not okay. Like, can we not? But it was exciting. It's exciting. People get excited about Bosa. So what are your thoughts on the smaller bear?
Yeah, no, he's doing great. And I still feel like he's flying under the radar, like nationally. I mean, everyone knows that Bosa is like Bosa. Like, everyone knows he's a great player, but I feel like he should be getting more mentions out there nationally than he is. And I mean, you said it. He's first in tackles for loss and fourth in sacks. And to me, that's deserving of comeback player of the year. I know there are other players who are in contention for that as well. And someone mentioned Dak Prescott as well for that. And yes, maybe, but
Maybe if he wins.
yeah, exactly. It's like, and that's why I'm saying, like, if the team continues to win, like, it'll elevate, all of these players in those discussions for their respective awards. And so I definitely think Nick Bosa is one of those players who's deserving.
Yeah, well, definitely winning helps. It definitely, helps the argument for for someone being a player of the year in any category when your team is winning because of it. I want to talk about Josh Norman. There was a lot of conversations about Josh Norman
Yes.
yesterday. I'm not even exaggerating. I saw at least 5 people tweet word for word, "Get Josh Norman the off my team." Like, those are the exact words. So, I mean, I get it, I get it. He hasn't been great in coverage. He gets a lot of penalties called on him, but man, can he punch the shit out of a ball, right?
It's like, if only he could do everything else that well. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I have like such a struggle with him because it's like, and it doesn't feel like too long ago that someone was saying on Twitter that he's like the best defender on the team or something like that. And I was like, do you remember that tweet? Or it was something to that effect. And I was like,
I must have missed that
no.
one.
It's like, no. Um, But I mean, obviously he struggles in some areas. And I even said last week when we were doing the Vikings preview, I was like, I'm concerned about him going against Justin Jefferson. And I mean, what happened? He got cooked on a few plays. But maybe that's to be expected, right? I mean, Justin Jefferson is a great wide receiver, and Norman is on the back end of his career. At least he can get the team some turnovers, right?
Yeah, and I think if we're gonna have to watch him play, at least I get to see a graphic on the screen that says he leads the league in forced fumbles, right? So it's give and take. I mean, he's out there for a reason. I trust the coaches. I know Melissa commented she wants to see Lenore, but yeah, the turnovers are huge, and just like we saw yesterday, do they win that game without that fumble recovery? Like, I don't know.
That's fair.
They might have if Robbie Gould makes the field goal at the end of the game, but that's a discussion for another day.
Besides,
Yeah, that's besides the point. It's fine. So yeah, love him or hate him, he's getting it done in terms of fumbles. So we'll accept that. Was there anyone else on defense yesterday that you wanted to mention? I feel like D'Amico Ryans is really coming into his own and doing a great job coordinating this defense and for the most part, getting the right guys out there and coaching them up so that they're making plays.
Yeah, no, he definitely is. And one other player that I did want to talk about was Aziz Al-Shair, who another player we've been singing his praises the last few weeks. Yesterday, he had 8 tackles, an interception, a pass deflection, and a fumble recovery. And on the note of D'Amico Ryans, Aziz said that after halftime, they made some adjustments, and that's ultimately what led to him being able to get that interception. So it's great to see, like, not just him being able to lead this defense. And as we know, the defense has suffered many injuries throughout the season, but just the fact that he's learning how to make those adjustments. And, we're seeing it. Like, he's been able to do a lot with, we see what he has, right? The players that he's working with and what he's able to do with those players and get them to step up. So, another player, Kevin Gibbons.
Yeah.
He made a pretty big impact in yesterday's game as well. And he actually forced a fumble in this game. So it's just nice to see, players stepping up, and anyone besides Nick Bosa and Fred Warner who gets their name mentioned, I'm like, yes, like more of that.
Oh, and Omenahue had a sack yesterday, right?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, I was excited to see that. Little signing going right there for the Niners, so that's always good news. So we mentioned the D-boy, oh my God, not the D-boy, the Debo groin injury and the update on that. Are there any other injury updates from the press conference today?
Oh boy, yes, there are several. Let me pull them up. So yes, we mentioned that Debo is.
Someone said it was a tackle for loss, not a sack by Omenahue. Thank you, Christopher. Okay. You the real MVP.
Bosa had our only sack. Okay, yeah. Omenahue tackle for loss. Still really impressive from him. And I mean, because I wasn't expecting him to do a whole lot. I mean, but hey, whatever we can get, right?
Yeah.
But going back to the injury news, Debo Samuel, as we mentioned, is going to be out 1 to 2 weeks with his groin injury. It is good that it's not considered as serious, but we do know that groin injuries are tricky. So, I would prefer them to be on the safe side with him and keep him out as long as he needs to fully recover. Then Fred Warner is out at least this week with a hamstring injury. Hamstrings can also be tricky.
Yeah.
So we'll monitor that as well. Marcel Harris, he went out of the game with a concussion. He's currently in the concussion protocol, so there is a chance he also misses Sunday's game. And then Trey Greenlaw, he was coming back from a groin injury, and originally I thought that he re-aggravated his groin, but today I guess it's a core injury to Greenlaw. Yeah.
Dang. That broke my heart to see him down his first game
Yeah.
back, you know.
Yeah.
And it's the worst part was him on the sideline trying to work it out, you know, trying to stretch it out or whatever was going on, like trying to be okay. And then, you know, because he wanted to get back out there. Like, can you imagine working to come back from an injury and then getting hurt like right when it's just so sad. But yeah, nothing new for the 49ers, just a slew of injuries, and you know, they try and bring us down, but we can't be stopped.
Done.
Oh, you're not done?
I wasn't even done. Like,
all right, I'm gonna go jump out my window.
It keeps going.
I'm gonna head out.
So
go on.
Well, Greenlaw's day to day. So I mean, that's
good.
Terrible. Yeah, it's not terrible. They'll monitor it throughout the week, and maybe there's a chance he plays on Sunday. We'll see. But running back Trey Sturman, as I mentioned, he went out of the game. Pretty much the only snap that he was in for. He hurt his ankle, and Kyle Shanahan said he's going to be out a while. So not great for him. I don't know. Like, they didn't give much detail besides that, but you know, we're hoping for a speedy recovery for him and all the other players that are injured. Another thing that came out today was that Vikings Patrick Peterson was placed on the COVID list. Kind of notable because we just played them yesterday.
Yeah.
And he got into a little tussle with Brandon Ayuk, and I mean, they're outside. Most of these players are vaccinated, so you hope that everything will be okay. But just keep an eye on that throughout the week. We never know with these things. So
yeah, but I mean, they all do their testing and stuff. So I mean, we'll know for sure in a couple days, because I think everything changes with COVID so much. I think it takes a few days to like be infected. I did want to mention my favorite part of yesterday's game was the fact that we all thought that Nick Bosa was hurt. He came off the field. He went to the sideline, comes back, and immediately gets a sack. Like, only Nick Bosa, right?
with his shrug,
his little shrug. Yes, God, classic. That man. Yeah, we're blessed to have him. Let's get into the Twitter tizzy. We have a good one today. Like, sometimes they're like, you know, but this is a good one today. So we mentioned earlier the Rappaport report about Jimmy Garoppolo being traded next season and the 49ers rolling with Lance. During yesterday's press conference post-game with Jimmy Garoppolo, Grant Cohn of All 49ers Sports Illustrated asked Jimmy Garoppolo if he had seen the report. And Jimmy said, no, you know, I haven't seen it. I was just focused on the game. Thanks for the heads up. That's what Jimmy said, which 10 out of 10 answer, right?
It was funny.
Yeah, it's a funny answer. So, unsurprisingly, a huge amount of just disgust and vitriol towards Grant Cohn on Twitter for asking this question. People were upset. They didn't think it was appropriate. They didn't think it was professional. We actually saw today that there is, I can't say it without laughing, there's a petition to ban Grant Cohn from 49ers press conferences, which, like, I'm a journalist, so I'm not for banning any type of journalist from anywhere. You sound like a dictator when you start to go down that road, but we can get into that. Steph, do you think that this was an appropriate question to ask the starting quarterback when one of the biggest reporters in the NFL breaks it? Well, he didn't break it, but, you know, does a report like that on game day?
I don't think it wasn't appropriate. Like, I mean, as a journalist, your job is to ask questions and get answers and create stories out of those. And I mean, would that not make a good story? I mean, it's going to get clicks, right? And
yes,
I mean, I don't know. I didn't see anything wrong with it. I was not as offended as other people. It's just part of the job. And as a football player and as just any sports player, you're going to be asked difficult questions and uncomfortable questions. That's just part of, the game, and maybe not part of the game, but part of the politics of sports and journalism and what have you. But every player deals with this, especially when there's a lot of speculation, and so I think Jimmy Garoppolo, he's no stranger to that in his career, and as you mentioned, he handled the question well, so I don't think it fazed him all too much.
Yeah. I think it was perfectly fine to ask Jimmy Garoppolo that question. Your job as a reporter isn't to worry about people's feelings, or else no questions would ever be asked. Like, if we're worrying about what people are going to feel when you ask them something, why are we asking the kicker that missed a game-winning field how it felt? How do you think it felt? It felt really bad, but you're still going to get asked about it because it's relevant. This story about Jimmy Garoppolo and where he is this year, where he's going to end up next year, where he might have ended up this past offseason has been dominating headlines for almost 2 years. So, of course, when something like this is reported, you're going to ask him about it. To me, and especially, we had Grant Cohn on our show. He's not afraid to ask anything. I know, like me, myself, I know a lot of other reporters might not have asked that question. I'm like,
they would know 100%. They would not.
I want to say I would, but like I would probably like. My heart was pounding in my chest during a press conference to ask a question about the fans. Like, I can't imagine asking Jimmy Garoppolo about getting traded, But, like, why are we acting shocked that this was asked? I don't know. I think people just like to have outrage on Twitter over anything. Where I draw the line is a petition to keep journalists out of a press conference. I mean, you sound like Trump, kicking out news outlets that he didn't like, asking him questions out from the White House press room, so I'm never for that. I think the petition is ridiculous. I understand why people are, questioning this question, but I also think they don't have like a bone to pick. I think they just get over it, dude. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
Right. Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to do cap or no cap before we get into the playoff picture, because it kind of rolls in with this. Do you believe Jimmy Garoppolo when he said that he didn't see the report? Do you think that was cap or no cap?
I think it was no cap, because honestly, the report came out just hours before the game, and he doesn't strike me as a type that's going to be like scrolling through Twitter, having the NFL Network on. Maybe someone texted him about it, but also, like, if you're hours before a game, do you really check your phone? Like, I don't know. I believe him on that one. I think that was no cap.
Yeah, I think it's a good cap or no cap. I think it could go either way. I don't see his agent like bothering him with this story before a game. I agree with you. If he was telling the truth and he really didn't know about it, like, that's my quarterback, baby. Like, just game time in the zone, not concerned, right. Tunnel vision, block the noise. He was just ready for the game. I'm also gonna say no cap. And like we said, it wasn't really anything we didn't know. So I don't see him seeing that before a game and being like, oh my God. Oh wait, shit. I forgot they traded up for a first round quarterback. I forgot. Oh my God. So yeah, I'm gonna say no cap. But God, I love the drama,
Oh God. Ryan said the dude barely returns George's text. No cap.
Yeah. He is.
Yeah, he probably has like hundreds of unread text messages. Just one of those people.
All women. And maybe men, like he's probably hot to everyone. So
hey, you never know.
Yeah. Let's get into the playoff picture. We're talking about the playoff picture still. We're still here. I know our odds went up.
They did. So now, after this game, the 49ers' chances went up by 22.1%, and they are now at an 81.9% chance of making the playoffs.
Dude, that's really high.
that is huge. And you can only imagine how much it would have went down had they lost the game. So yes, this game was huge. It had so many playoff implications. So I am very pleased that they came out of it with a win.
Yeah, I do want to say I'm very proud of myself. I have higher chances than the 49ers, though, of making playoffs in my fantasy league. So,
Ooh, you have higher
yeah.
chances. What?
Yeah, I'm like
So you're in
almost at
first place?
90%. No, I'm in third, but like it's
Okay.
tight. It's tight, 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 you know? So I'm in there. I'm in there. So let's
Nice.
talk about remaining games. Ooh,
Yeah.
we're going
I
to
mean,
Seattle.
yeah, Seattle, looking at the fact that the 49ers are going to be without Debo, that, that game concerns me a bit. Because if we had Debo, I honestly think, like, he can take us to a win, just like maybe single-handedly. Like he's just
Yeah.
been that good lately, and I don't think Seattle's defense is any match for him right now. So I'm a little concerned about that game. We'll talk about that more in a bit when we preview that. But after they go to Seattle, they're gonna go to Cincinnati, play the Bengals. That also could be like a tough game in Cincy.
Yeah.
Um, and then they play the Falcons at home. Then they travel to Tennessee. Then they play Houston at home, and then they play the Rams, the final game of the season in LA. What do you think about these games here, Ange?
I think a lot of things. I'm like looking, I'm trying to figure out what I think they're gonna go in
Mm-hmm.
this last stretch. I think the Seahawks are the worst team in the division by far to me at this moment in time, which is an improvement of what I thought earlier in the season, but we won't go there. But the fact that it's in Seattle and without Debo, exactly like you said, makes me worried. I mean, I feel like these games are always good, so good with Seattle, and they both want to beat each other so badly that it's just always a tight game. But I think they'll win that one. The Bengals terrify me. I'll be honest. But you know what? The Rams terrified me 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
So it's like, I don't know what to think of this team, man. I'm flip-flopping every week. Like last week or 2 weeks ago, I said, we're never going to see Trey Lance in my lifetime. First quarter this week, I was like, will we see him by the third quarter? Like,
Right.
so I don't know. I'm gonna say, I think we beat Seattle. I think Cincinnati beats us. I think we beat the Falcons. I think the Titans beat us, and then
Really? Okay.
I think we win out against the Texans and the Rams. I mean, I could see us beating the Titans, but I got to throw it all behind Ryan Tannehill.
Where does your loyalty lie?
And yeah, Melissa just commented that he's not that great right now. I know.
Yeah.
I know. No, I hope the Niners win, of course, but like sometimes he gets tricky with it, What do you
Yeah.
think? 6-0?
I think they beat the Seahawks. And we can kind of go into the Seahawks preview. Like, I mean, the Seahawks just don't look like the same team.
No.
And I get it. I get that they always play the 49ers hard. Yes, true. But like even the last time we played, that they looked beatable even in
They
that
were
game. And so
so
like
beatable, dude.
I was pissed that we lost that game cuz like
Right, you're
they
right.
did
We
not.
should pulverize them now.
Yes, I'm a little worried about no Debo and no Fred Warner. That
Yeah.
those are two huge losses on both sides of the ball. But I don't know. I think Kyle Shanahan's just been in a better place in these last few weeks, and I think he should be able to take advantage of some of those matchups.
I don't know why I'm laughing that he's in a better place. He's doing well mentally. He's very zen.
Dude is
He's
smiling
meditating.
again. Dude is smiling.
He is. It's so nice to see.
Yeah.
I'm not sometimes I'm scared of him, where I'm watching the press conferences and I'm don't ask him the wrong thing, but now it's just
again?
yeah, I'm clenching, clenching, dude. But now it's oh, he'll talk about anything with us. He loves us. He's happy again. I totally feel you. But yeah, like you said, he's in his bag. I love saying that. Kyle's in his bag.
Cincinnati, I think, is going to be a tough one. That one, I think, could really go either way. It depends what Cincinnati team shows up, because they're one of those teams that looks really good one week and then looks bad the next. So it really depends who we get that game.
Yeah. That's what this is a hard remaining game list to predict. Honestly, because exactly what Christopher Johnson commented,
yep.
They could throw a game that you don't expect them to lose, and it's just been a weird season, I feel, for a lot of teams just like that.
Mm-hmm.
Including the Niners, because we're so good. We should be better than 6-5.
And then the Falcons. The only thing that worries me about the Falcons is Cordell Patterson. He has been on his own tear lately, and he is their entire offense right now, and he has been scoring points for them. I know, because I have him on my fantasy team, and I am rooting for him every other week besides that 1 week that they will be playing the Niners. But yeah, I mean, if they can stop Cordell Patterson, it'll be an easy win.
Yeah.
And then Tennessee, another team that has had it could go either way, because you don't know what Tennessee team is going to show up that day. They could be clicking on all cylinders, or they could just, I don't know. They've had some tough games, especially against the Patriots. They looked just pretty bad. The Patriots are the Patriots. Their defense is the best in the league right now, but still, I'm just saying, Houston, they've been looking better the last few weeks, but
Tyrod is falling out.
Yeah, they're playing well. Their defense has been stepping up. But if the 49ers play their game and they're the 49ers that day, they should beat them pretty handily. And then finally, the Rams. I mean, scary team, but they've been 0-3 since they traded for Beckham, right? So
and I'm not something to remember. The Niners are a good road team. Pretty much any place other than Seattle, So looking at the Rams, looking at the Titans, looking at the Bengals, those are all on the road. So I wonder if that will factor in at all. We'll see. But yeah, they're definitely better on the road than they are at home, which is funny, which I'm pretty sure that's still the case, even given the last 2 wins. But just something to think about, Steph. Something to think about. If they go 5-1, what'll I do?
Let's make a
little bet. Right, eat like a habanero pepper on the stream or something.
So, do you not think that they'll go 5-1?
I think they could. I'm just gonna be super happy if they do. I could see it not happening.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll be stoked if they go 5-1, just with that one loss to Cincinnati. Do you think they can go 5-1?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think I pretty much just said the Bengals is probably really the only one that scares me.
Yeah.
The most. So we'll see.
I hope they go 5-1. I'll eat something hot if they just for fun.
The ghost pepper.
Yeah. Oh no, not a ghost pepper.
On Alive.
Yeah, not a ghost pepper though. Isn't that the hottest one?
Boo. No, there's aren't there worse ones? Okay, a chili connoisseur comment and tell Angie what she should try. We'll do
No
it.
one's gonna come. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Is anyone gonna comment?
I'm sure someone will.
Anyone know any kind of, or I could do that one chip challenge. Have you seen that?
Mm-mm.
It's one chip and it's so hot. Like it's death defying hot.
What's like what kind of chili?
I don't know. It just comes in a bag. It's one chip like this big. Have you ever watched oh my God, why can't I think? The First We Feast, where he does the interviews while they eat hot wings.
Hot ones?
Hot ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why can't they did it on that one time, and the host was like crying. It was so hot for him, and he doesn't even bat an eye. Yes. She says, "Don't do the chip challenge. I don't want you eating any."
Two people are like, don't.
All right,
they
I
just
won't
care about you too much.
I know. Yeah, you're right. You're right. If the Niners go 5-1, I'll just smile. Someone filmed themselves doing it last year during Christmas. It was bad.
Christ.
But will it get us views, Melissa? Will it get us views?
Remember, we're trying to hit 1K subscribers.
No, dude, I don't really feel like crying and like snorting and like snot coming out of my nose on the stream now that I think about it. So
we would just end the broadcast immediately.
Oh, I have to go to the hospital and stuff. Could you imagine? Oh my God. Yeah. You know what? If they go 5-1, I'll just simply smile. That's enough, right?
Yeah.
Give a good old smile.
Simply smile.
All right. So we got the Seahawks next week. Should be a good game. It's the battle of the embattled fingers with Elijah Mitchell and Russell Wilson. So should be fun, you know. I will say Elijah Mitchell came back from his injured finger much faster than Russell Wilson. So shout out Elijah.
He didn't have to film his rehab as if he was coming back from like a season-ending career-ending injury.
Yeah, like Dak literally snapped his ankle in half and like didn't even do that. What are we doing? What are we doing, man?
So dramatic.
All right. Well, I think we covered it all. We will be back really dramatic. We'll be back this time next week to talk about the Seahawks game. If you want to listen to this again, if you caught us live and you maybe missed the beginning, or you want to listen again for some odd reason, we're on all podcasting platforms on Tuesdays. So check us out wherever you get your podcasts. And thank you guys so much for listening. 49 Carats Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at 49K Pod. Subscribe on YouTube. I can never point. It's over there at Stragosaurus. Follow us on Twitter if you don't. We're super funny. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'm Angelina Martin.
And I'm Stephanie Sanchez at Stragosaurus.
Peace out.
Peace.